do is trying to control the Middle East by strangling Iran to death. And so, in many ways, this war in Iran is a response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Russia has complete dominance in Ukraine. This war in Ukraine is actually lost. And so, if America is able to win this war in Iran, it will now control the energy supplies of the Middle East. It will control all the trade in the world. There's a dream of an Eurasian heartland, a grand alliance between Russia, Iran, and China. Iran is a pivot point. So, if Iran were to collapse, then America would still be able to control global trade. The petrodollar would still be the dominant currency of the world. And so, this is really a struggle of life and death for the American empire. And that's why, in many ways, America has no choice now but to go all in against ground troops.
I think the big picture of the region is of importance. I know that you've been talking about the state of Israel and the agenda of the United States with the state of Israel, but from what you see so far, we had the case of Venezuela, that the United States Donald Trump came in and said that we are in control of Venezuela. Right now, in one of the latest interviews on Fox News, they're talking the same way. We have to control the oil in Iran. The whole concept. How do you see the concept of greater Israel and the concept of controlling oil?
Right. So, Israel, since its founding in 1948, has always had a methodic mission to reestablish the Kingdom of David. The Kingdom of David, 3,000 years ago, was a cosmopolitan empire that controlled the entire Middle East from its strategic location in Levant. And Israel wants to reestablish the Kingdom of David. The Israelis also believe that the Great Israel Project is what Yahweh, their God, promised to Abraham, their great ancestor. If you look at the Great Israel Project on a map, you just Google the Great Israel Project, what you'll see is that it encompasses the entire Middle East. So the territorial ambitions of the Israelis is vast. Great Israel extends from the Nile to the Euphrates, so that means that Israel will eventually have to go and conquer Egypt after this war and Iran eventually subsides. It also has to conquer Saudi Arabia, and there's talk among some fanatical Israelis that they want to actually seize control of Mecca and Medina. The Great Israel Project also includes parts of Turkey as well. And already, the Israelis are talking about what Bennett Turkey is. So Naftali Bennett was former Prime Minister of Israel and the person who was most likely to succeed Benjamin Netanyahu once he retired from the scene. He says that actually Turkey is new Iran, right? So the idea is that we're going to get Iran out of the way, but then we're going to go after Turkey. Okay, so Turkey is on the agenda as is Saudi Arabia. And really, if you look at how Israel is fighting this war right now in Iran, it's actually trying to destroy as much of the Middle East as possible. Okay, so you have the saturation of bombing in Iran. So Israel is trying to destroy the Iranians' capacity to run a state, provide basic services to its people, as well as the military capacity of the state. So that when they establish the Great Israel Project, Iran will not be a factor. They're trying to divide Iran into ethnic enclaves that will war against each other. And Saudis will go into Iran and support different factions. Okay, so that will the British Empire use to control most of the world. But if you look at what's happening right now, there's discussion. There are rumors that a lot of these drones, a lot of these attacks against GCC countries are actually Mossad false flags. Right? So you have this drone that attacked Azerbaijan, and the Azerbaijan government said, "Oh, why are the Iranians attacking us? We're going to launch an invasion of Iran." And the Iranians like, "This drone was not from us." And so there's rumors that Mossad launched this drone attack against Azerbaijan for the war between Azerbaijan and Iran. Then you have this attacks against these Saudi oil facilities. Which caused Saudi Aramco, the state oil supplier in Saudi Arabia, to close down. And at first it was reported that it was Iranians who struck these oil facilities. But then the Iranians came out and said that it wasn't us because why would we attack the oil facilities of the GCC? If we did that, then that would provoke the Saudi Arabian government to come attack our oil facilities. So we would not do that. And now it's reporting that actually the drone attacks against Saudi oil facilities came from Lebanon, right, from the west rather than the east. And so going off that this is another Israeli false flag meant to provoke conflict within the GCC, meant to bring Saudi Arabia into the war so that Iran could destroy Saudi Arabia's oil facilities. And then you have Tucker Carlson, who a few days ago on his show, he revealed something really, really interesting. He said that Qatari officials told him secretly that they had arrested 2 Mossad agents who were suspected of sabotage in Qatar. Okay, now the Qatar government has denied this and will never know the truth. It makes sense that Mossad would want to try to sabotage and infiltrate the GCC as much as possible because, first of all, they see the GCC, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iran, Qatar as eventual competitors, but also they're trying to make this war as wide as possible in order to make it easier to achieve the Greater Israel Project. So that's the situation right now in Iran and the Middle East.
We are witnessing a conflict between two forces, one from the east, the other from the west. These two forces are fighting each other. One is not that much eager to fight. I'm talking about Russia, Iran, and China. Mostly they want to communicate. They started communicating with the United States. They continue these negotiations with the United States. They're trying to do their best. On the other hand, you see the behavior of the United States is mostly like the British Empire in its last years. They want to dominate everything. They want to force each and everybody into submission. How do you see this great game, this great power game working out for the region?
Horrible aim,
right,
bro.
so as you point out, America is desperate, it's anxious, it's afraid that its empire is collapsing, therefore it's lashing out against the world. When America won the Cold War, the entire world celebrated this. Remember when the Berlin Wall fell, and the acceleration of the Germans when they could unify as a people. There's great hope in the 90s that American hegemony would lead to Pax Americana, a time of peace and prosperity for everyone. And for the most part, this was true. I mean, you were in Europe, you were in the Anglosphere, you were in China, then yeah, you had a very good time. But unfortunately, America started to become corrupt and arrogant. So after 9/11, America launched these wars in the Middle East for no particular reason. Destroyed Afghanistan as a viable nation state, destroyed Iraq, which in the 1980s was a flourishing, prosperous middle-class nation, destroyed Libya, destroyed Syria, again, for no particular reasons. And so America started to become this bully in the Middle East in order to enact its certain ideas about the world. Okay? And then you have this massive corruption, which led to the 2008 great financial crisis, which almost collapsed the entire global economy. So what's happening was that because America was the hegemon, most countries of the world were sending their investments to America, and Wall Street became the most powerful entity in America. It led to the financialization of America. So it shipped its manufacturing overseas, primarily to China, and America focused on financial services. And that led to speculation, that led to gambling, that led to risky assets and derivatives. And ultimately, this imploded the 2008 great financial crisis. And not only did no one go to jail for all these crimes and misdemeanors, but in fact, the financial industry was able to cement its global power over America. And this has led to, first of all, massive inequality in America, where if you're just an average person, the American dream is dead to you. You can no longer afford to buy a house, you can no longer afford to have a family, you can no longer afford to retire. It's led to massive inequality. It's also led to massive corruption, where Washington has been completely co-opted by the financial elite, where the Democrats and Republicans serve the financial elite of Wall Street. And the third thing is that it's led to complacency, it's led to arrogance. America no longer mix things. It just mixes things up. I mean, America has become this fantasy land. And so, yeah, so the American empire was not sustainable. But at the same time, the American empire still has the greatest military in the world. And the Russians were really the first to challenge American global hegemony by invading Ukraine. And at that time, the Americans did three things, right? The first thing that they did was they sanctioned Russia, which meant that Russia is not able to trade with anyone through the Swiss system, the financial architecture of the world, so the Swiss system the Russians began from. Second that they did was that in fact, $200 billion of Russian assets were seized by the Europeans and Americans. $200 billion still sits frozen in European banks. A few months ago, Europeans were discussing the possibility of using these Russian stolen money to finance the war in Ukraine. And the third thing that Americans did was blockade or ask Europe to stop buying cheap Russian energy. You know exactly what happened afterwards, okay? Most was blown up, and Germany was forced to pay 50% more for energy needs from the Americans, from the Americans, and so the American countries collapsed, right? So by using its imperial powers, what America did was not really destroy Russia. Actually, America destroyed its reputation, right? Because you're going to steal money that people put in your banks. No one's not putting money in your banks anymore. And so this has led to a massive downgrade in the power of the U.S. currency, the U.S. dollar. It's America cannibalized its own allies. Europe has collapsed economically. Germany is suffering really, really badly. And it's really emboldened towards something. So remember what happened after the Russian War is that the aura of inevitability and invincibility that the American empire start to be broken. And then you have these nations in Africa who started to seek self-sufficiency. They wanted sovereignty over their own resources. So they threw out the French colonial powers, they got the French military, Sahel, right? So things throughout the world. And so under Trump, the response is to show the world that America still is the global hegemon, and that America is no clear adversary. That's why we saw the kidnapping of President Maduro from Venezuela. It was a blatant violation of international law. It was a declaration of Venezuela to take control of people. And of course, remember, they delayed Maduro on the streets of New York as though he was a captured war prisoner, and so it's humiliating for him as well. And then after Venezuela, of course, you have this war in Iran. And this war in Iran was again meant to show the world that America still has it, and America empire is not becoming. And now it's time to look over the face. Okay? That's the background.
I think for many years, the outcome of the British Empire, which is the all these Arab states are the output of the British Empire, and then you see the American bases in these countries. A country like Saudi Arabia who has a defense budget of more than 10 times of the defense budget of Iran, and they're not even capable of defending themselves. They need American bases in their countries. Who are these Arab states, and what is the agenda? Because so far from what we've seen in this, it wasn't less than it was 7 days, 8 days that we have this conflict between Iran and the United States, this war that totally devastated all these American bases in the Persian Gulf, and that's why the early warning system in Israel is not working the way it was before the war started. And they're somehow blind, and they don't know how to predict these missiles that are getting to Israel. On the other hand, you mentioned something so important, which is the invasion on the ground in Iran. That we had the Iranian foreign minister having an interview with NBC, and MSNBC said that we are prepared. We are prepared for them. And how do you see the whole game in the Middle East, and how this war is not a game anymore? The war is killing people. And
Right. So first of all, it's important to understand that these GCC countries, they are artificial constructs of empire. Okay. So let me explain what I mean by that. First of all these nations were supported, the human being, because of the British Empire. Right. So Saudi Arabia, the House of Saud, they were put in power by the British Empire as a counterweight to the Ottoman Empire. So this is a great game. And the British Empire just put puppets into place into different Middle East countries. They knew that these countries had massive amounts of oil. That oil would be the great wealth of the 20th century. It was all planned before. So all these monarchies, they owe their they owe their allegiance to empire. Right. So after the British Empire fell, the American Empire replaced them. And so and then the American Empire maintained this sort of vassal relationship with these Gulf states. Now, it worked out great for these Gulf states because you were under protection of the military, and at this time of the Cold War, your adversary was the Soviet Union, and because of mass resource destruction, these two countries would never war against each other, right? And so the Middle East countries could sell oil to everyone, and so they have to pay for defense, and we're making all these billions of dollars just selling oil. So it was like the best deal in the world, and that allowed these GCC countries to expand, right, to grow the population, to build cities. But the problem with these GCC nations is that they don't actually have the building blocks of nations. They don't have access to fresh water. 60% of the water comes from desalination plants. They don't have access to their own food. They import 89% of their food from overseas, and they don't have an indigenous population capable of 21st century knowledge economy. So they basically import their knowledge workers as well from overseas. So these are not viable nation states. And for the longest time, people were so dazzled by the wealth, the glitz of the Middle East, that people really didn't understand this fundamental issue. And so the entire GCC is a giant mirage created by American empire as well as post-Cold War peace and prosperity. And now this Iran war, this mirage has been shattered. And now everyone understands how easy it is to destroy any of these nation states. What's happening in Bahrain right now is literally a revolution, because most of the country, over 50% actually, is Shia minority. And they're ruled over by the Sunnis. And so there's this dynamic going on. And the Bahrainians are not sympathetic towards the Iranians. And they know the fact that the American 50 is based in Bahrain. So now that there's this war going on, and now that the Iranians are striking at US military bases, and now that America killed the Alex Khamenei, which is the religious leader, the religious leader of the Shia, all around the world, not necessarily in Iran, and a fatwa, a religious decree has been released calling for Shia Muslims to jihad, right? And that's why you have all these uprisings in Pakistan, in Iraq, in Kuwait, and Iran. So Iran is actually on the verge of revolution. So that just shows you how unstable these countries are, even though they're wealthy. UAE had an image of being the Middle East version of Hong Kong, Singapore, New York, London, this financial hub where wealthy expats can go and not pay taxes and enjoy Michelin star restaurants. It's a wonderful city, wonderful city. But again, it's just based on its reputation of being very wealthy, being peaceful, being safe. And so one drone just shattered this image, and now you have everyone trying to flee Dubai. Apparently, like luxury star hotel rooms in Dubai today go as low as like $9 US dollars. So you want like a cheap vacation and you're looking for adventure, I recommend Dubai. But good luck getting a flight into Dubai because the Emirates cancel all flights because of this war going on. Okay, so the UAE is not going to last after this war. Saudi Arabia is also in trouble because Riyadh, which is a city of millions of people, and before, like 30 years ago, it was a city of like a few hundred thousand. Why was it a few hundred thousand? Because it didn't have access to water. It was a desert. And so with millions of people, you need these massive desalination plants. But then you can blow these desalination plants up easily with a drone, okay, with a $50,000 drone, and completely destroy Saudi Arabia. Okay, so these nations are not sustainable in the long term. Plus the fact that Saudi Arabia for the longest time has been trying to transition out of its oil economy. For the longest time it was dependent on oil, and now in the past 10 years, they recognize that they need a non-economy. They recognize that they need more tourism. That's why they spend tons of dollars to bring in e-gaming, to bring in football stars like Cristiano Ronaldo, to build new attractions. They want to build like an indoor ski slope in Saudi Arabia in the desert. They had something called the line, which was like literally a straight line that went across the Arabian Peninsula. And any of tell you, like, these are all just crazy dreams. And these crazy dreams were enabled because of hubris, because of all this money and wealth that was flowing in Saudi Arabia. But again, all this was based on the belief that peace and prosperity could continue forever, when in fact the world was a much more fragile place. Not any of these nations in the GCC are actually real nation states with real population that will sustain these nation states. Okay, that's the first point. These Arab states are construct of empire. The second point I will make is this: the American military, for the longest time, did not fight a real war. Okay, so the last real war that I fought was probably Vietnam. The both from 1991 was not a real war; it was a video game where you have these airplanes, high-tech airplanes, which were able to incinerate Saddam Hussein's soldiers. I mean, just look at the visuals from the first Persian Gulf War. It was not a war; it was just a video game essentially. 2003, when the Americans invaded Iraq, what people don't remember is Saddam Hussein did not have any air defense, not one. Okay, why didn't Saddam Hussein have any air defense? Because first of all, he had suffered over 10 years American sanctions, so his nation could afford to have air defense. The second point is that he knew that he could defend against American invasion. So what was the point anyway? He prepared. The Americans came to get anyway, so he's gambled and felt that Americans would not be stupid enough to invade Iraq. Because if you invade Iraq, you empower Iran. You make Iran the hegemon or the main power in the Middle East. Why would they do that? Okay, so clearly Saddam Hussein was wrong. So 2003, the Iraq was not a real war as well. So for the long time, the Americans not a real war. Now they're fighting a real war. What we're seeing is the American military is not as strong as people believe. And the reason why is the military complex is first and foremost corrupt. It's not meant to fight wars. It's meant to steal as much money from taxpayers using the justification of wars, right? So during the Cold War, it was not possible for the Soviet Union and for America actually go head to head. So what they did was they invested in very expensive weapon systems that made them look good, which cost a lot of money, which was impressive on paper, but which really didn't do anything. Okay, so really it was like flexing rather than about really fighting a conventional war. And that's what we're seeing today in the Middle East, where America has all these really impressive air defense systems, like the THAAD system, it costs billions of dollars. You have the Patriot system, you have the Iron Dome. I mean, it's all very impressive. But look how effective it is against the Iranian assault. And the Iranians have told us they're actually not have yet to release their most advanced weaponry. This week has just been, the old style power of drones, missiles to soften the weapon systems, the air defense systems of the Israelis and Americans in the GCC. And already Israel and the GCC are suffering massive casualties and massive damage. What this war has shown us is that the world really is a mirage. It's a hallucination. But you believe it's actually true.
I think many of us are somehow confused with the concept of Israel because, after all, Donald Trump wanted to help Israel, but it seems from what we've seen so far, you see no footage is coming out of Israel. And then what is happening in Israel that nobody knows? Because it seems that a huge devastation is happening and nobody knows what's going on. But from Iran, we know, as you mentioned, the footage is coming out, we know where they're hitting and what is the devastation that is happening in Tehran, for example.
Right, so there's a reason why there's no footage coming out of Israel. The reason why is Israel was completely humiliated in the 12-day war. Remember, Israel really thought that it would take them like a few days to destroy Iran because their entire strategy was decapitation, right? So they went in to kill the top leadership of the Iranians, and for the first few days, it was really impressive. They were killing these scientists, these generals, these officials, these terrorists in their home. And so that showed you the extent of Mossad network in Iran. That showed you the extent of the investment of Israeli weaponry. And it also showed you that Israel had complete dominance over the skies. And this happened because of Syria, right? So after Syria fell, to ISIS, this air corridor where now the Israelis can just fly uncontested directly to Iran. And before Syria was the early air defense warning system for the Iranians. That's why they had so much protecting the Assad regime. So in the first few days, it seemed as though Israel was on the brink of destroying Iran once and for all. But the Iranians proved much more resilient than anyone could imagine. And the Iranians started to fire back at the Israelis. And the Israelis were actually suffering a lot of damage, especially in Tel Aviv. And the images coming out of Israel were shocking and actually humiliating. And so the Israelis basically begged America to come in and save them from losing to Iran. And that's why Trump and the Iranians orchestrated or coordinated or choreographed this conflict. Like, where one or two B-2 bombers went in and blew up an empty mountain. And then the Iranians struck back and attacked an empty US base in Qatar. And that was it. Okay? And that was the end of the war. And then you remember, Netanyahu went to talk to Putin, okay, and asked Putin to do him a favor and talk to Iranians and said, listen, Trump says that we're taking out your nuclear weapons program, your uranium missile program, and that's good for us. So I promise you, Iran, that we, the Israelis, will not provoke another conflict. There will be peace between us. And Putin delivered that message. That was why we reported at that time. We really thought that in the 12-day war, we would have peace in the Middle East because Iranians have demonstrated to everyone that they will fight back and they can fight back. And Israel doesn't have the capacity to actually destroy the regime, the government in Iran. Unfortunately, that's clearly not what they believe. And so what I think they understood is, you know what, we still want to destroy the government in Iran because that's part of the Israel project. But in the future, we'll just censor media. We'll just disguise the fact that we're getting destroyed by the Iranians. And that's what's led to this blockade of information from Israel. You're actually writing that there's a lot of destruction in Tel Aviv and other places because we used to like see the missile barrages of the Iranians and they're quite impressive. But the Israelis think that, like, if we just hide the fact that we're being destroyed, then people will think that we're so invincible. Okay, so that's a response to the loss of the 12-day war. The Israelis is like, we will admit we're being defeated. But I mean, right now Israel does not have the capacity to continue this war for much longer. It needs America sending ground troops, and that's the situation we find ourselves in.
I don't know how capable the ground troops would be because they were begging Kurdish terrorist groups to do something for the United States. That it seems that the Kurdish people, I don't know who are living outside in Iraqi Kurdistan, they're going to be part of it or not. But we learned yesterday from Khan media, Israeli media, that Azerbaijan is going to join us in this fight. I think there's somehow they're trying. You mentioned the false flag operation, but we have false flag news coming out because Azerbaijan knows what's at stake if they enter this conflict. It's not just about Iran. Russia would come in. The whole concept of South Caucasus would be in some sort of Russia was fighting Georgia before the war in Ukraine started, and they know what's at stake considering the South Caucasus and the case of Iran. And how do you see the whole concept? Because on one side we know that they really are considering ground invasion of Iran, but how capable are they to go that far?
Right, so as you point out, American strategy is use proxies for Iran invasion. That's what they did very effectively in Syria and Libya, right, where they finance these rebel groups and in support these rebel groups with air power, and that was very effective, especially in Libya, which really destroyed the government in Libya. But the situation in Iran is actually much more complicated, right? So right now, the Americans are looking at three possible proxies. The first two, as you mentioned, are the Kurds and the Azerbaijanis, and the last one are the Balts, which is near Pakistan. Okay, so that's the southeast corner of Iran. The Azerbaijanis and the Kurds are in the northwest corner of Iran. And the Kurds are a long history with the Americans. And the Kurds have been trying to achieve national self-determination for a long time. And their best chance was actually in 1991, because at the aftermath of the Persian Gulf War, at that time, President H.W. Bush encouraged the Kurds to rebel against Saddam Hussein. And the Kurds did. It was a massive uprising within Iraq, and the Kurds really believed that now was an opportunity to finally build their own nation. But at the end of the day, what happened was that President George H.W. Bush betrayed the Kurds, and promises of American air power to support their insurgency never materialized. And what happened was a massive crackdown. Saddam Hussein, I think, used it was a brutal crackdown to hundreds of thousands of Kurds And if you're the Kurds and you remember this, right? Why would you ever trust Americans again? And this was actually the first time. It's happened before, and it's happened like many times afterwards. So the idea that you're gonna give money to the Kurds and they're gonna rush into Iran on your behalf, I think that's a fantasy. That's number one. Point number two is the entire intention of using Kurds is a camouflage. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna mask Kurdish insurgents and send them into Iran. And what will happen is the Iranian military will be forced to send in soldiers to counter this attack. And these soldiers will be masked, right? Which makes it perfect for aerial bombardment. But guess who else gets killed in this aerial bombardment? It's the Kurds as well. So these are this cannon fodder, meant to bait the Iranians into conflict so that they all destroy. The Kurds are stupid. They know exactly what's going on. And the reason why they seem as though they wouldn't go in is because they can probably get off a lot of money from the Americans and Israelis, right? They can probably get a lot of weapons, a lot of money, a lot of gold, and a lot of assurances from Israelis and Americans. The idea that these guys can go in, sacrifice their lives so that Israel and America can advance their military objectives is just absurd. No, that's stupid. And then like Azerbaijan, right? Why the hell would Azerbaijan get into this war, especially because Russia's to the north, right? Why give the Russians and the Iranians the perfect excuse to split your nation into two? If the president of Azerbaijan is stupid enough to actually enter Iran with a ground invasion, I guarantee you that Azerbaijan's nation will not last very long. Russia is going to perfect excuse to come to this war to create a language between Russia and Iran. So there's no way Azerbaijan comes to this war. But again, it's good optics, right? The president of Azerbaijan can flex, can huff and puff. The Israelis and Americans will pay a lot of money. He'll take this money and give it to all his hangers on, all support, all second on. It doesn't look good, okay? But the way these guys are not stupid, they're desperate. They know exactly how the game works. They know that the Israelis and Americans are desperate for ground forces to advance their military objectives, and they're not going to sacrifice themselves and they're not going to sacrifice their lives. Not stupid, but in the process, they can rip off as much money as possible from Israelis and Americans. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
John, one of the main questions in the mind of Arab states today is what is the benefit of American bases in our countries? And they're asking themselves, many people in these countries, wealthy people, are asking, what is the outcome of these bases if they're not defending us, if we're going to, we are attacked because of these bases? So how do you see the Middle East, the outcome of this conflict, this war, and the influence that it already has on these Arab states?
Well, I mean, listen, for the longest time, these GCC countries had a devil's bargain, right? So the devil's bargain is this. You got these corrupt regimes supported by American military. The American military was not in these nations to protect the nation. It was to protect the royal family, to make sure the royal family obeyed orders coming from Washington, D.C. These GCC nations are really the linchpin of the American empire, but they sell petrodollars, and they recycle these petrodollars into the American financial system. The AI bubble right now in the United States is completely financed by the GCC nations, right? The entire American economy now depends on the building of data centers, which is not very profitable, which are very bad for the environment. And so the GCC nations aren't able to finance the building of data centers. The entire Ponzi scheme, the entire finance pyramid, the mirage of AI economy collapses. Okay, so these ruling families are corrupt, they're arrogant, dictatorial, and they use these petrodollars to bribe these citizens as well. So if you're a citizen there, you get free healthcare, free education, free housing, free job, you got nothing to worry about, okay? And then you import workers from India, from Bangladesh, from the Philippines, wherever to do the work. You hire expatriates from Europe, from England to be middle managers. And so they had a very nice deal for the longest time. And now what they're recognizing is, oops, our time is up. This devil's bargain is not going to last for longer. Listen, I mean, I don't want to be too rude, but I don't think there's a future for any of these nations after this war.
How do you predict this war, going on and on? Do you see a long war happening between Iran and the United States? Which, long war like what because when the war in Ukraine started, we thought that it could be a short war because you look at what Russia did in the eastern part of Ukraine. They didn't go that far. They literally captured the eastern part of Ukraine, mostly Russians, and they're trying to protect the Russian ethnicities and those people who are even we have some other people, ethnic Russians in Kiev, for example, in Odessa, they're trying to do their best to protect these people as well. But when it comes to Iran, it has nothing to do with all of those concepts. The United States merely is attacking Iran because of its resources, because Iran is an independent nation. That's why they're attacking Iran. And I don't know how much of what they have in their mind is achievable right now with the current situation of the conflict. Because Donald Trump said that I want to choose. Yesterday he said based on Axios, he said to the Arab states, I'm not looking after regime change. I want to choose the next supreme leader.
Goals are with it. Is it just like a metric
A
number?
million followers, be the next Jeff Side.
Against the father of the Shah of Iran. Then he was put in the place of his father because of the coup, British coup. And then we had the democratically elected prime minister Mossadegh in Iran, which was, there was a coup against him in 1953 to put Shah in charge again. They're trying to achieve something that they have lost it long before, and they're trying to establish a mindset, not reality, but the mindset in Washington is the same as it was previously with the British side trying to make a coup d'etat against the government and put some other people in place of them without changing that much whole system.
Okay, I would say this. Whatever you believe will happen, will be completely wrong. Whatever happened in the past will not apply to what's happening right now. This is a unique war. This is something that we cannot use history, the lens of history, to understand. Okay? You go to the Russia-Ukraine war. I still understand why this war is still going on. Russia won this war about 2 years ago. Ukraine have lost about 1 million fighting age men. Now they are dragging elderly men, kidnapping them, and putting them on the battlefield. A third of the country has already fled Ukraine. I understand why this war is still going on. So from a geopolitical perspective, from a historical perspective, from a military perspective, what's wrong in Ukraine doesn't make any sense to me. Why hasn't Ukraine just surrendered in negotiated terms? Putin doesn't even want all Ukraine. He just wants what is traditionally Russian, okay, which includes the Fork Oblast up to the Dnipro River. Then he might want Odessa as well. But who cares? You've lost the war. Just give it to him and let's have peace, right? Why are you still fighting? In fact, the Europeans are saying we're going to draft men, like Germany, Romania. They're like passing laws to draft men to military service. I think that the Europeans are planning
a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate.
The war is lost. Why are you sending young men to die in Ukraine? And even those why you want to do this as well. Russia has weapons. You don't want to poke there too much, because then you might end up destroying the world. So the traditional understanding of how wars are fought, why they're fought, I don't think you can use it anymore. Okay? I think we're living in a very special time. And the framework that I think you have to use is eschatological, religious. They're doing this not to win wars, to control resources, to obtain oil, to control trade. They're doing this for religious purposes, to achieve a certain world that they believe will reflect the divine will of God. So there's a news item where a commander told his troops, this American commander, and they American troops to not be afraid of this war in Iran. And the reason why is that this war will bring about the second of Jesus. Trump is divinely ordained. Okay, God picked him in order to start a war in the Middle East that will lead to a chain of events that will bring about the second coming of Jesus. I know it sounds crazy, okay? But keep this in mind, because what's happening in the next few months or next few years will be more crazy. All right, so one thing that's really worrying is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Al-Aqsa Mosque is the third holiest site in the Muslim world. Only Mecca and Medina are more holy. The Al-Aqsa Mosque is where Muhammad ascended to heaven. And there's talk that the false flag with Al-Aqsa Mosque is destroyed. And why would it be destroyed? Well, because the Al-Aqsa Mosque sits on the site of the Second Temple, or Solomon's Temple. Okay, that's considered the holiest site. in the Jewish tradition is where God lives, right? So you want God to return to the world, you need to build a nice home. That is Solomon's temple, the third temple they call it. And so you need to destroy the Alex mosque. If you destroy the Alex mosque, this will ignite a religious war between the Muslims and the Jews. Every Muslim will be more obligated to seek jihad against Israel if you were to destroy the Alex mosque. So why would they do that? I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm saying things are going to happen. Things may happen that make absolutely no sense. And what I'm telling people, okay, is first of all, get in the mindset where if you believe about the world, it's going to go for okay? Because if you just use conventional logic and analyze what's going on in Iran, it makes no sense. Even today, a week after the war started, even though a lot of damage has been done, even though a lot of people have been killed, no one knows why this war is being fought. Trump and his people have not articulated any real reason why they seek to destroy Iran. The most we have is at first, Trump is like, okay, we want to get rid of nuclear weapons. We want to get rid of the possibility that Iran is uranium enrichment. But the Omanis, who were making
I can't aim. I really can't.
They to zero, absolutely zero uranium enrichment, which is something that they were adamant about for the longest time. Right? They said we are willing to forever forgo our uranium enrichment program before they insisted that we are empowered to use uranium enrichment for civilian purposes. And we got that as well. Okay? And not only that, but they relate to Omanis that, hey, not only are we willing to give up our uranium enrichment program, but we're also willing to negotiate with our proxies, as well as the Shia militias, Hamas, and the Houthis. We're also willing to negotiate other enrichment programs. They're willing to give Americans everything that they demanded, which were impossible to demand to begin with. And they're still attack. So please explain that. Okay? That's point number one. Then point number two is Trump then said that, okay, where we attacked because, well, Israel was attacked first. And we know the Iranians will respond by attacking us. So we have to preempt the Iranians by attacking them first. Okay? But then you're like, why did you tell the Iranians not to attack them? Right? You're the superpower. You're the ones financing Israel. You're the ones giving Israel all the weapons it has. Just say, you attack Iran, you're on your own. Right? And now they're saying as well, it's because we're controlled by Israel. Are you really telling me a nation of 9 million people is able to control an empire of like 330 million people? That's completely nonsense. Okay? So all the reasons that they're giving us make no sense. It's all lies. It's all deception. Okay? What they really want to do is destroy the world. That's what they really want to do. What they want to destroy the world is that will force Jesus to return. That's part of Christian Zionist eschatology. And again, you don't believe it, okay? But like, ask yourself this. First of all, like, why is the war continuing? Number one, why is the war continuing? Okay? Number two is, why is Trump asking for unconditional surrender? Why is he refusing to negotiate at all? Number three is, why is America sending ground troops? Like, let's suppose that. I'm like, aren't you destroying Iraq in the air already? Why are you sending ground troops? And number three, okay? And then what we see later on is the destruction of Alex mosque. The plan is, okay, it's a fabrical plan where Israel destroy this mosque, Alex mosque, but they will pretend it's an Iranian missile, okay? So somehow they're going to get also operators in Iran to fire up this attack at Alex mosque. Right? And then you see the Iranians are doing this to provoke us. It's Iranians who are planning to flag, right? And what is provoking their person? These are the crazy. This entire thing is criminal. Take what you do, pull out the and then you might as well. Well, next thing you know, the Charlotte was blown and never
John, do you see the war getting nuclear?
Yeah, that's a really good question. All right. So, already discussing the possibility of nuclear weapons. The reason why is that a lot of Iran's capabilities are very deep underground, and so you cannot actually destroy these facilities using conventional weapons, even all bombs, right? Like a huge bomb, bunkbusters taking over. Okay, so tactical nuclear nuke would not destroy the underground facilities, but it would basically it would make it unlivable. It causes radiation. Okay, so that if you want to work conventionally, then you might have to use tactical nuclear weapons, especially if the foundation goes wrong. Okay, but there's some problems with the use of tactical nuclear weapons. Okay? The first thing is this: Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, has already said that Russia will ensure the success and survival of the Iranians. Right, so already there's talk among the Russians that they will support Iran fully at some point. Okay, already we know that Russia is providing targeting information and intelligence to Iranians, and that's what Neil did during the Ukraine war. So basically, Russia is doing what Neil did in Ukraine. It's like payback, right? And eventually, I think what's going to happen is this: if there's actually one invasion, and there's actually a threat that Israel or the United States will use tactical nuclear weapons because the war's going wrong, I think what's going to happen, okay, and it's a guess, but I think the possibility is that Putin announces that Iran is under the Russian nuclear umbrella. An attack, a tactical nuclear strike against Iran will be considered a tactical nuclear strike against Russia, and Russia will respond with tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine against Europe. Okay, that is a real possibility. So that's one point. The other point is this: we assume the Israelis and Americans want to win this war militarily, but like let's just say that they want this war because it's for eschatological reasons. Okay, if you actually look at the eschatology of the Jews and the Christian Zionists, you look at all eschatologies. America should not be in the Middle East. It is against the will of God that America is in the Middle East. Therefore, America needs to leave the Middle East, right? For the eschatology to take place. The eschatology requires for Israel to fight the world. America's not involved, right? So how do you get the American empire, which supports GCC nations, out of the Middle East? CENTCOM is this vast empire unto itself that has like dozens of military bases throughout the Middle East. It has like 50,000 soldiers, right? When you get America out of the Middle East, America loses this war, right? So everyone's looking at America's entering this war to win. But it's also possible for America to lose, in which case everyone's going to plan. Right? So again, your logic, your history, your sense, you're leading the world, we're out the door. Okay? America's not in this war to win, America's in this war to lose.
I need to apologize on behalf of myself to our neighboring country.
And John, I think with the case of oil, with the case of war, Greater Israel, it always comes to a concept of how BRICS would react. What is the future for BRICS? What is the future? Because in my opinion, the South Caucasus is the heart of Eurasia. And
like I said before,
how do you see BRICS? Because India somehow, you see India is so silent right now. They're dependent on Russia, and we have, I would say, somehow some sort of perfect combination of energy and production within BRICS. With Iran, Russia, and China, a perfect some sort of partnership between these players. And how do you see the whole game influencing the concept of BRICS?
The BRICS doesn't matter. I've never thought about BRICS. I've never researched BRICS. If someone talks about BRICS, I clue out. I think something else. Okay? I don't care about BRICS. Why? Because today, okay, we live in the law of the jungle. Who is strong wins. Who is weak dies. Who is strong are those who are willing to fight for what they believe in. If you're willing to make military power, you matter in this world. If you're not willing to make military power, you don't matter in the world. It's that simple. Forget BRICS. It doesn't matter. Forget this like Shanghai Gold Corridor. Forget about this unit currency. Forget about trade. It doesn't matter anymore. We are now in a new world where it's a law of the jungle. Might makes right. If you're willing to die for what you believe in, if you're willing to send troops to fight for what you believe in, then you matter. If you are not willing to do so, then you'll just sit back and be destroyed one by one. It's that simple.
Yeah. John, the other situation with the case of the Middle East would be how Iran as a country may decide about its future, because you know what has happened in Russia before the war in Ukraine started. There were people who were thinking that they can make a partnership with the West, with the United States. And we have two sort of forces in both Russia and Iran, and these forces who are mostly neoliberals or close to liberals in the United States, they feel that the United States we may trust the United States, we may negotiate with them, but as the war in Russia, in Ukraine, and as we are witnessing the war in Iran, and these conflicts, this is a huge conflict in the Middle East. And how do you see the politicians, the decision makers in these countries deciding about the future? Where is the future in their mind?
First of all, we assume nation states are the main organizing unit of the world. We also assume that the leaders of these nation states actually matter. And I think both of these assumptions are problematic. Maybe the people who control Russia, China, the United States, Israel are the same people. I mean, there's that possibility, right? So, again, I think you have to begin this war in Iran. You have to clear your mind. Right? You have to examine your own assumptions about the world. That this is a war of resources between Iran and the United States. I don't think it is. And again, time will tell. Okay, I don't want to say too much because people will think I'm insane. But I don't think that nation states are really the powers that people think they are. There are other organizations, there are other entities that are above nation states. We saw that in the right? I'm assuming that the vaccine was just the Mossad, the CIA, was blackmailing these powerful Americans in order to get our support for Israel. But there's certain things that happen when we actually get the powers. That's very confusing. First of all, why are Bill Gates and Reid Hoffman, why are they going to Jeff Epstein for money? Bill Gates was the richest man in the world. Reid Hoffman is a billionaire. Why are they going to Jeff Epstein and begging for money, right? And then you have Elon Musk, who's very wealthy and like wants to party with Jeff Epstein. So almost like fathering Jeff Epstein. Hey man, I hear you for these wonderful parties. Can I join you? And then they use these code words like pizza and whipped soda. All right. So again, the Epstein files. If you just look at Epstein files, the way you think power works, the way you think the world is run, is probably wrong. It probably is.
You mentioned that the war in Ukraine was lost 2 years ago. How do you predict the war in Iran? How do you see the escalation? And what would be the meaning? Because one win or the other lose, or what is the outcome in your? What would be the outcome?
I mean, the outcome is very simple, and the outcome is ordained. The outcome is to just make it as possible to destroy the entire global economy, to destroy Iran, to force the United States out of the Middle East, to destroy the Gulf nation states, to suck Turkey into the war, to lead to the creation of a visual project, and eventually capture Judea, and then eventually bring conditions for another world war called Armageddon, where Russia and Iran attack Israel together, which will usher in the end of the world. That's the script. That's the plan they have in mind. So it's all been preordained. They've all been scripted out, and that's exactly what's going to happen. It's only a question of like time frame, like how long will this thing take? But they will send ground troops into Iran. It will be a disaster, and Iran will be shattered. America will be forced out of the Middle East, and Israel will become the only standing power in the Middle East. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Do you feel that the leadership in the Middle East, in West Asia, would be mostly influenced by Israelis? Because how you mentioned a nation of 9 million people, and we know that they haven't the capabilities, the numbers to occupy all of this land, and how they're going to manage that? Because it's not just about Iran, Turkey. Do you mean that they're going to, start with Iran, then they go after Turkey? But the whole region, physically, Israel is not capable of doing this.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Because again, you have assumptions about how the world works and how power is controlled. You need population, they don't. Nowadays with AI technology, what you do is this: you can import labor. I'm saying after this war, okay? When millions are dead, and the Gulf states will destroy, you have a lot of loss of life in Iran as well, and in Israel as well.
I can't hang.
And Israel's trying to be the global empire. So it needs labor, as you point out, right? So what do? Well, you import the labor from India, from China, and from the Philippines. What do? You microchip them, right? So you can surveil them, you can control their emotions, you feed them drugs, they're your slaves. You have like millions and millions, hundreds of millions of these people who will be the humanoid robots of your empire. And it can all be done with current technology. You don't have to actually build new technology to do this, but you will need an AI surveillance state. And that's why Palantir is so valuable, right? Because the idea is, for these companies, these AI companies are not being incubated in the States, Palantir specifically, to come over to capture data, to come over to Israel and run the surveillance state. That is the plan.
Yeah. And do you think that the war is getting to the East Asia? It's going to get to Japan, South Korea? How do you see? Because it's not. If we think of the big plan, would be Russia, Iran, then go Taiwan, maybe China, maybe Japan and Korea, bring them to the conflict with Taiwan. Taiwan is somehow different. It's a little island that can be somehow controlled, and it's not like Ukraine that you can feed the Ukrainians with weapons underground. How do you see the big picture of the world?
Look, we know about Southeast Asia, right? Again, your assumptions about the world are just wrong. It's a lot of jungle now. Whoever's going to fight, who's ever going to die, will win. And
it seems that we've lost John here.
Right,
And let me, yeah, you're back.
Look, you have to see the world not through economic lens, okay? Because it doesn't matter. It's all about the willingness of the population to fight wars, to die for what they believe in, okay? And there's exactly 4 nations in Southeast Asia that have a history of dying for what they believe in, okay? This includes Japan, South Korea, North Korea, and Vietnam. The war for Southeast Asia will be between these 4 nations.
And And you see Iran and Russia surviving the current conflict?
So Russia is clearly winning the war in Ukraine, and Russia will become a dominant power in Europe, which will force the rise of Germany as a response to Russia. So what's going to happen is that the American empire is going to finance and support the rise of Germany as a counterweight to Russia. But I think that even though they may fight some wars, I think in the long term what will happen is a grand alliance between Germany and Russia, and that is a new power in the world. I think a grand alliance between Germany and Russia will be unstoppable. In Japan, in Southeast Asia, the new power will be Japan. Okay, so these are the three major powers in the world: a German-Russian alliance, Israel in the Middle East, and then Japan in East Asia. America will emerge in Western Hemisphere because they have no competitors, but we can expect that America will have a lot of issues, civil wars. It will have to defend its territories in South America and Caribbean against guerrilla insurgents who want their sovereignty. So the world is heading towards a new place, a brave new world we've never seen before. There'll be complete chaos, and quite honestly, the goal is to kill as many people as possible. Because the world can't sustain 8 billion people. So we want to get as many conflicts as possible to reduce the population so that the population will be easier to govern, to create compliance. So again, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to sound across as conspiratorial or deranged or insane. But if you want to survive what's coming, you have to mentally prepare yourself. You have to tell yourself that maybe what I believe of the world is wrong. Maybe race doesn't matter. Maybe China doesn't matter. Maybe it's all just an illusion. Maybe it's all these lies that the media is feeding us in order to make us not understand what's really going on. Okay, what's really going on is not a financial war. What's really going on is not a material war, a military war. What's going on is a spiritual war. All right, that's what's really going on.
But the United States is not that capable, Jim, after all. The United States has been fighting all of these wars, and they were defeated in all of them. And just remember, these are the facts. They've been in Afghanistan for 20 years. They got it from Taliban, and they delivered it to Taliban before leaving Afghanistan. Afghanistan today is not in the hand of the United States anymore. Iraq is the same. Just look at what is happening right now in Iraq. They're not, all of the bases, the U.S. military bases in Iraq, they were destroyed with all the weapons they had there. And so how much power do they have to pursue that agenda? I don't see that happening because the United States is not, getting stronger. They're not getting stronger in the West Asia.
Look, your understanding of the world is limited, okay? You think the United States actually matters. You think the United States went into Afghanistan, went to Iraq to win the war, to control these places. But Julian Assange, he says a really point. What he told us is this. The point is not to have successful wars. The point is to have never-ending wars so that the military industrial complex, this transnational security system can steal from the American taxpayer, okay? So what you understand is this. America, these nations, it's a hoax. What matters is the person. What matters are the secret societies, these transnational capital groups. That's who controls the world, okay? And these are one behind everything, right? China and Israel and the United States. And they choreograph these wars in order to extract as much wealth as possible from their nation-state hopes before the nation-state collapses. All right, that's what's happening. These parasites intend for America to lose its war in Iran so that it can collapse the entire American economy and drive millions and millions into abject poverty where they will own nothing and be happy. That's the game plan here. You have $40 trillion in debt. The only way they can get rid of this debt is by destroying the American economy, by collapsing the American economy.
Yeah. You mean that the United States right now, the agenda would be to be defeated in Iran, or they're meant to be winning in Iran?
What I mean to say is that the United States cannot control the United States. That's what I mean to say. 80% of American people do not want this war in Iran. Okay, 80% of American people are like, we don't want this war. Most people are against this war, even though traditionally, once a nation enters a war, the public is very supportive of the military. But American people are not supportive at all of this war. And it's like ground troops. American public again do not want ground troops in Iran. Guess what? Doesn't matter. No one cares. No one cares what American public wants. About 99% of Americans say, we don't want this war. It doesn't want this war. So clearly, America is not a democracy. All right. So and then it's like, well, okay, in like November we'll have these midterms, and the Democrats will come in and stop this war. Well, let me tell you this: even the Democrats were to win the midterms, and that is also suspicious and unlikely, given what's happening. But even if the Democrats were to win the midterms, if when they come to office, Congress would still allow Trump to fight this war. Okay. The Democrats have done absolutely nothing at all to stop Trump from fighting this war. Congress has a constitutional obligation to declare war, and they should have organized a vote in order to stop the president from declaring war. It's called War Powers Act, okay? It shouldn't schedule before the war started. And what they did was this. They scheduled the War Powers Act debate to be on Tuesday, like 4 days before the actual attack. Okay, so they knew the attack was coming. They scheduled it in a particular time when it would not be relevant, okay? So Congress is not stopping the president. Congress is enabling the president. Ground troops, right? Ground troops. Not one powerful Democrat has said, I'm against ground troops. But you have like Chuck Schumer saying, I looked at the evidence, I've been briefed by Marco Rubio, and yeah, the situation was worse than we think, So it's all just a deception. It's all just an illusion. It's already decided what's going to happen. It's all a script. Okay, and the idea that actually people can vote their way out of this, no, they can't. It's like 99% of humanity, like even more than 9%. Like, maybe there's only a few thousand people actually in charge of anything. But they're able to do whatever they want.
But it's all about the United States. And many people in Iran, they say it doesn't matter what they're thinking of. If they want to invade Iran, come here. And we're waiting for them. That's why they're prepared for the ground invasion. They really feel that they can defeat the United States on the ground as well. And that's the calculation. What you just mentioned is all about the United States and how they feel. We know the feeling and the agenda of the United States is not the end game. It's not the outcome. The outcome is the combination of both forces, as we saw in Ukraine. And Iran, you have a calculation of two alternatives, the United States and Iran. Two agendas are fighting each other. It doesn't matter if they want to invade Iran. They're going to respond. They're going to destroy those people who are going to invade Iran.
Look, I said this many times. Okay, look, the United States will invade Iran, and the Iranians will destroy the American invasion force. But what I'm saying is, that's what they want to focus on. That's what they want you to think about. I'm saying none of this actually matters. Yeah. What really matters is for us to understand who is actually behind the curtain, pulling these strings. Okay, someone is doing this. It's probably not Trump because it's not Trump who's doing this. It's other people who are doing this. So first question is like, who is actually doing all this, and how are they actually able to pull this off? And this is actually something that we need to truly understand. That's the war we need to fight. This is not a war about the United States and Iran. That doesn't really matter in the end. It's really about a war of self-knowledge. Do each of us have the will, have the courage to seek the truth out, even though the truth can shatter our very sense of reality? Okay. So let me end with this note. Okay. Let me tell you what you need to do if you are to win this war individually. Okay? Plato's allegory of the cave. Plato's allegory of the cave is this: everyone is chained to the floor. All right. You're strapped to the floor. You can't move. Even your head, you can't move because of a chain. You don't steer your head. You're on an empty wall. Okay. Behind you is a fire. Behind you is fire. And then there are certain people, the elite, the true power in the world. They put up these puppets that the fire then reflects as shadows onto the wall. And then what we do is we look at the wall and we create our own reality. Okay. We create a language. We make up stories about the shadows onto the wall. And that's the reality that we live in today, where we think it's all real, but it's all an illusion. Okay. The people behind the fire, pulling strings, they're the real power. The United States, Russia, China, this war, the United States and Iran. That's all an illusion meant to distract you from trying to turn over and figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. Okay? And that is a challenge for us as human beings, to not be lied into this conflict before us. To think that, okay, it really matters who wins the United States or Iran. It doesn't really matter. It really matters if Israel becomes an empire or not. It doesn't really matter. It matters if British is successful or not. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. What matters is our understanding of the world. What matters is our desire, our courage to seek the truth, no matter how painful the truth is. That's what matters.
Thank you so much, John, for being with us today. It was a great pleasure to talk with you. These questions, somehow many people would say, and this question, that question, but we have to explore. We have to find, your understanding of the world, which was amazing to me to understand it, and I think which is helpful for many people who are watching us. It was a great pleasure to have you on here.
Okay, thanks for having me. Okay.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
Bring new friends into our community. And thank you most of all, John, for your time and insights this evening tonight, especially at a time when you are in high demand. So we are truly grateful. Thank you. So we've come together tonight in celebration really of our 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So we are trying
I feel like
Okay.
Is that close? No one's to our right here?
there's also something we could do with Dark Harvester afterwards, potentially.
Yeah, at the end of the game, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
I think we just bait them to shoot it.
Yeah.
We get a car. We have a car, Nick. We can kill them both with a car.
Okay. Yeah. I did the same thing.
Like we did the first time.
Come on.
We could. I mean, we could bait shots. Should we bait shots?
I think we
I'll
wait
make a
at this
shot.
point. I think we wait,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Because like we're gonna be in zone. This is gonna be like the final zone right here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not invisible anymore, but that's fine. Rift is in the sky. Replace. Someone just popped it. We're still in zone.
We're right in center.
Yeah, we're still in. Is that
Am I in
perfect?
here? I don't know if I'm in.
Yeah, I think you are. I think you
be.
are. Kind of. Maybe you might. Oh, I thought I heard someone.
Sorry.
You might need to go forward a little bit after, but yeah, I'd wait and see. Oh my gosh.
We good, man. Here they come. Yeah.
Okay,
Hopefully.
got rebooted.
They're gonna come up right here, 100%. They're gonna
Yeah.
come from right there.
I feel like there's someone lurking underneath by the bottom of the zip line. Like,
There
ミクだよ
might be, yeah.
ミクだよミクだよミクだよミクだよミクだよミクだよミクだよ
You have 3 in your inventory?
ミクだよミクだよミクだよミクだよミ
There's a
ミク
team
だ
of
よ
2. I think they're killing the whole lot of
ミク
the
だよ
players.
Yeah.
ミクだよミクだよミクだよミクだよミクだよ
Oh my god. Yeah, they're gonna see us. There's like 3 teams.
The city's airspace full of
In fact, it doesn't. You're not a celebrity.
This is crazy.
The U.S. military is using a
Come on,
brand new
lethal. That's what's
weapon
going on
system
right now. I think that's
now
happening.
when the Iranians into
Wait
a
for them
big
to come up. Someone's gonna see the loot. They're gonna come.
Okay.
Hello.
I'm surprised I haven't even seen anyone on the mountains.
I know, dude. There's literally 3 other teams. Oh! Shockwave.
No, we
Here we
pulled the
go.
zone. We pulled the zone, Nick.
Okay. Nice. Oh my god. Invisibility's wearing off. I don't think we throw another one replace.
No, not anymore. Yeah, not
Okay.
anymore.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Right away. Get ready. Is he behind me? Are they behind me? Replace?
Yes. He's directly behind me, sir.
Oh my god.
He's directly behind you right now, Nick.
For this stupid fucking ridiculous.
Now you can. If you're gonna turn it, you have to do it. Oh, now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're there. Okay. Oh, they're
There we go.
far, bro. But they are gonna come towards us. I feel like.
What's up, man?
Maybe you shoot. Replace. I think it's not a bad idea to shoot. I think now or never. The zone's closing in. Okay.
U.S. Israel struck an airport in Tehran. That's what died.
Okay. Do they though? Cause look at the zone. They're gonna have to rotate to the right.
Yeah, that's what they're starting to do right now.
Yeah.
I could shoot like 1 bullet right now.
Yeah.
I shot. I think he's. Oh, he didn't see me.
He's
He
coming.
didn't see me.
Is he coming?
He didn't see me. Yeah. No.
Oh my god, they're up there. Wait, should we just throw it on them right
To
there?
a transmission at 12 years old, ho?
Hey, dad, bitch, that's why I'm fish. Punk ass nigga, your face is glitching. You ugly
Hey, I'm
fat black
D-Block.
fuck. Fuck you, dumb fat ass nigga.
I'm Duke
Look
Denny,
at
ho!
Face
Think behind
glitching
us, only
ugly.
chance.
You cocking dick
I'm
ride the
Duke Denny, ho!
We're gonna try to
Shut her ass up!
That is nothing.
Hey, look, look!
Improvise, get ready. I'm standing still.
Let's go sit it up right now.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm just
They're an African 1.3%.
Hey, George, you know, this is the problem with you.
They're hitting me. They took it.
Democratic poll.
Okay, I'm crouch walking my way down.
How many children do you have?
84.
84.
Oh, they're
दुबई में एक चीज क्या अच्छा लगा दुबई पे जब हमले हो रहे थे उसके होटल्स वगैरह गिर रहे थे तो दुबई के जो किंग है उन्होंने कहा कि कोई होटल वाला अपने मेहमान को निकालेगा नहीं और ना ही उनसे पैसे लेंगे जो वो खाने पीने का ऑर्डर करे आप उन्हें खिलाइए जब ये डिस्प्यूट खत्म हो जाएगा युद्ध खत्म हो जाएगा तो जितने मेहमानों का पैसा होगा उसको सरकार
wall, pussy ass boy. Bitch, you fucking suck, nigga. Sit your bitch ass down, nigga. Turn your mic on, nigga. I know you got a mic, pussy ass nigga. Oh my god, nigga, you're getting fucked on, nigga. Oh god, bitch, I'm fucking you up, nigga. Nah, I got niggas playing pussy and shit, nigga playing all scary and shit. Scary as fuck. Nigga slid on your bitch ass and gave you a straight headshot, bitch. Oh, bro, you not fucking with me. You thought you was better, bitch? You came in this bitch. Alright. Trying to be fucked up. That weak ass shot, nigga. You got lucky with that shit, man. Like that shit weak. You're sorry as fuck, nigga. Just know that, bitch. You might as well just leave.
It's like,
This nigga so
bro.
ass.
Yeah.
So ass, baby.
Everything's sloppy, everything's slow, everything's garbage.
So predictable, nigga. I just jumped off through your shit, nigga. 150 you bitch ass.
Can't aim, I can't aim, I can't aim, I can't fucking aim. I'm missing every shot, dude. Oh my god, dude, I miss every shot. Every single shot I miss. Every single shot. Every single fucking shot I miss. It's just insane. It's insane.
Echo cancellation or something.
Yes, exactly. You have to go to like, I mean, you can copy my settings if you want.
Maybe send a screenshot because I think I've already tried. Or actually, if you could.
Yeah,
Card
I
देगी.
mean, if you want, here, let me, want to go like one at a time or just screenshot it?
You know what? Let's worry about it after.
Okay.
Yeah.
True, since we're doing this right now.
Yeah. And I'm down. So yours doesn't cut out when you screenshot it. Yeah.
Whenever something crazy.
Not homosexual. I like.
I know. It always happens like with me and Sancho too. I noticed like his voice will cut out. So.
It's a Discord setting you gotta change. I forgot which one it is, but if you want, you can just copy my settings, see whatever works best.
Okay. Afterwards, let's do it after this game.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's do it.
I got 750 gold.
Oh, here, right here. They just called in a drop right on our head.
Okay, nice.
This has 1,000 gold for us.
Yep. I'm coming over.
There we go.
This reminds me of this.
Just do some PG-13. PG-13. You know how to get started? Yeah, you do?
No, I'm so bad at it.
It's okay.
Teach me how to get started.
I can teach you how to do it. I got you.
I know they better be like, bro, what is
I know.
We should. It's somewhere right here, right?
I don't even remember where we parked.
Dang.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I'm gonna end up dropping this anyway, so might as well just shock it. Oh, there's a car.
Yeah, I see it. I'm gonna take these A out before they grief later on. They they see their bushes, these guys, man.
Oh, you're right.
Every time.
Okay.
He just disappeared. I got him.
Shit.
Perfect. I'm buying mine.
I already got enough bushes.
I know you want some.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know you want some. No, look.
You got one, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so where do we want to go? We're waiting for zone?
I know you.
I have bunkers back there. I just dropped them so that way I can bait this enforcer.
Yeah, I think
Okay, perfect. Maybe on the streets, or what do you think?
we could do it on the
Even
street,
here.
or we do it right here, Nick. Look,
Yeah.
right here. Like on the entrance of Boulevard. People will run in this way.
Okay,
Like,
down.
we break this tree.
Yep.
And then maybe throw it on one of these tiles right here. Whatever one works better.
Okay, checking. So
President
of
the
United you can't throw it there. On this one, you can throw it right here. Right
ये देखो भाई, ये अमेरिका का बेस है, हमारे पास में ही रहता है। ये देखो अभी ईरान जो अटैक कर रहा है ना, ऐसा मार रहा है कि देखो अभी अगर गिर गया इधर एक भी तो हमारा रूम उड़ जाएगा। ये देखो।
Perfect. Oh my god, we got such good loot here, bro. Oh my, they're definitely gonna go for it. Okay.
Take this.
Yeah, take this.
Push.
Yeah,
And
take
then
this.
Yeah.
Perfect. Nice little trade. On the grass, you want to stand?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we want to see their POV. If we want it, we gotta do it right.
Yeah, like you go opposite of me, kind of vibe.
I mean, like if you want to both get the POV is like running in, because they're gonna 100% come
Oh,
from
you're
behind
right. Yeah. Okay.
Would this,
So kinda
would
like
this work, you
this.
think?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Okay, so here we go. We're gonna throw a launch pad directly at them. They go up. We beam them with the lock-on AR.
Oh yeah. So like I'm gonna throw it first. Yeah, I'll throw the fizz.
What the hell? You can't de-escalate.
Nick, do you want me to show you my Discord settings or just like
Yes. Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay, so voice settings, and then I'll just tell you mine because I'm not sure exactly which one it is.
Okay.
But input profile.
The brain rotted. Okay.
You're not gonna talk.
No, but this is not
For anyone?
a picture.
I know it's a video, but so someone has to talk. Or
Guesstimate.
Martha. Yeah. I don't know what you're going on island.
اسمه هاك شو كل ما تجي شو بدك تلعب جيم شو بدك تقرا
ايدي توجعني.
كافي عوفه من الكيبورد كافي ايه كافي ما راح يصير عندك ارثرايتس روح للجيم
I'm gonna be honest. OG Season 7, not many updates as I thought there were. That's the only thing that comes to mind, honestly. Just that.
Fanática le roba en beso a Bad Bunny. through strength. For far too long, our country, peace through strength. For far too long, our country's gaze was only on borders in far-flung places. Not our own border, not our own hemisphere, not the Western Hemisphere. Peace through strength.
Lanjut aku mesti buat.
Easy. Easy.
Weather.
Sweater leather? Wait, where is it? Where is it?
Weather, not leather.
Oh, okay, there we go. We're good. Shut up, shut up. This is hard. I don't get it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to attempt to optimize. If I was, I'd be playing a no clip, so. This is hard. This is hard. What the fuck is everyone talking about? Look at these gaps. What is this shit gap? Fuck. When did they nerf Zoink? I don't do practice runs, so it doesn't matter. This part's hard as hell. Fuck. This is hard. I don't get how people say this is easy. This is very difficult. Dude, I'm like always dead at that spider. That spider is difficult. This is arguably probably gonna take me longer than like Red World. This is hard. Dude, this ending is so hard. What the fuck? This is so difficult. Jesus Christ. I have no clue if I'll be able to beat this today.